I start the video on the far southern part of Godfrey. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also make sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy checking out some of the featured playlists on this channel. Videos on other places like what you see here can be found on my Metro East playlist, my St. Louis Suburbs playlist, or in my Illinois playlist. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. You can think of Godfrey as a suburban extension of Alton. Godfrey residents live within the Alton School District, and if you haven't seen my Alton video, you should check that one out. Alton is a much more interesting town than this bedroom community, as Godfrey doesn't even have a downtown. Alton is more of a traditional city that has existed for a long time and has plenty of history to go along with it, especially as it's located off of the Mississippi River. Cities that are located off of major rivers have way more history than cities that are further inland, as initially cities were almost always developed along navigable waterways or large bodies of water. If you want to check that video out, it is linked in the top right corner and also right down below. Alton over the years, however, has suffered its issues with drugs and high rates of crime and poverty, making the town less desirable to live in. Alton has seen nearly half of its peak population disappear, and it doesn't seem like it will be gaining residents back anytime soon. Anyway, many of those former Alton residents have moved to this place that we're currently in called Godfrey. You know, the ones who got tired of all their neighbors' crap, the ones who are tired of worrying about their cars or homes getting broken into. The property values are higher in Godfrey, and you're further away from all those crazy people in Alton.
All of those crazy people in Alton? I'm an Alton resident. Am I crazy? How dare you judge an entire community based off of the stats that you find on the internet? Crime and drugs can be found everywhere. I'd love to know where you're from so I can tell you the negative stats on your city. You should really talk to some of the locals before you label all of us as crazy.
Sheesh, well, you're not helping your case much. Well look, take it as you wish. I'm not trying to say that everyone who lives in Alton gets in fights at bars, or that everyone who lives in Alton has a misdemeanor on their record for public intoxication, even though you might. I'm just saying that the crime rates in Alton are pretty high. I mean, a violent crime rate of 1,029 for every 100,000 people is higher than Chicago's, for example. Look, Alton has every characteristic of a city on the decline, like high drug usage, high crime rates, high poverty rates, and low home values, and people are continuing to run away from town like there's no tomorrow. Sometimes the truth hurts. There is absolutely nothing wrong if you're prideful of Alton or if you like living there. Anyway, this video is about Godfrey, and in Godfrey, the median household income is $73,000 per year, and the poverty rate is 7%. 29% of adults 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and the median value of owner-occupied housing units is $143,000. Niche.com gives the public schools a B+, and the crime rates are below average. Godfrey is a fairly new incorporated place, as it incorporated as a village in 1991. Since then, Godfrey has continued to see growth during the first few census counts that the village has existed, but since 2010, it's expected to see its first population loss. Godfrey is in Madison County, Illinois, in which the county is estimated to have lost population since the 2010 census count as well. That leads to the fact that Illinois is among 3 states to have lost population during the last 10 years, the other 2 being West Virginia and Mississippi. Madison County is one of the 2 main counties that makes up the Metro East region, the other being St. Clair County, and the name Metro East comes from the Illinois side of the St. Louis metro area. The Metro East region can be pretty depressing in spots, and if you want to see more on the region, make sure to watch my Metro East playlist. Since 2010, it's estimated that both Madison and St. Clair counties combined to have lost 11,000 residents. Case in point, Godfrey's recent estimated population loss can be attributed to the larger problem of population loss that the Metro East region is seeing, and the state of Illinois. One interesting stat about Godfrey is that the village limits takes up a large amount of land. The city's website claims that it's the 8th largest municipality in terms of geographic area within the state of Illinois. If you look at a map, much of the land within the city limits is undeveloped woods and farmland. The limits are basically bounded by Alton to the south and the Madison County line to the north and to the west. For Godfrey being a fairly young municipality, the village's website has a lot of information in its history tab. There's also a tab on the website claiming that Godfrey is the third safest city in Illinois. I have my doubts on that, as there are some pretty darn nice and safe Chicago suburbs, more than just two. I'm not saying Godfrey isn't a nice and safe place, but I just have my doubts on it being the third safest in Illinois. Anyway, most of what is written on the history tab on Godfrey's website is a bunch of stuff about Alton, Madison County, or the Metro East region as a whole, pretty much everywhere else nearby except for Godfrey itself. There are a few things specifically about Godfrey, however. The area that Godfrey is now in used to be a refuge for runaway slaves. The village is named after Benjamin Godfrey, who was a sea captain in New England before he came to the area. Benjamin Godfrey built the first church in Alton, a mansion in Godfrey, and the first women's college west of the Allegheny Mountains. Back in the day, nearby Alton was a thriving community with a powerful economy, and much of that was due to the success of Benjamin Godfrey. In modern times, what you see here is pretty much what Godfrey is and always has been since its incorporation as a village in 1991. Godfrey is a Metro East bedroom community with residential subdivisions that branch off of the main routes through the area, and it's likely that Godfrey will only ever be just that. It might continue to see population growth, and that could possibly come with some more retail areas as well, but until the region that is Metro East can see some economic growth, I would put a pretty low ceiling on the growth of Godfrey. Later in the video, I'll come up on a large campus for a local community college, but the rest of the video will have a rural and suburban look.
It's not the news that any of us hoped that we would hear. It's not the road we would have chosen, no. The only thing that we can see is darkness up ahead. But you're asking us to lay our worry down and sing a song instead. And I didn't know I'd find you here in the middle of my deepest fear, but you were drawing near. You were overwhelming me with peace, so I lift my voice and sing. You're gonna carry us through everything. You were drawing near. You're overwhelming all my fears with peace. You say that I should come to you with everything I need. You're asking me to thank you even when the pain is deep. You promise that you'll come and meet us on the road ahead. And no matter what the fear says, you give me a reason to be glad. And I didn't know I'd find you here in the middle of my deepest fear, but you were drawing near me. You were overwhelming me with peace, so I lift my voice and sing. You're gonna carry me through everything, and you are drawing near. You're overwhelming all my fear. And here in the middle of the lonely night, here in the middle of the losing fight, you're here in the middle of the deep regret, here in the healing hasn't happened yet, here in the middle of the desert place, here in the middle when I cannot see your face, here in the middle with your outstretched arms. You can see my pain and it breaks your heart. And I didn't know I'd find you here in the middle of my deepest fear, but you were drawing near me. You were overwhelming me with peace, so I lift my
And here's the campus of Lewis and Clark Community College. Pretty impressive campus for a community college if you ask me. If I were to guess if this were a community college or a 4-year college based off of appearance, I would have guessed a 4-year college. Nonetheless, Lewis and Clark Community College provides education for over 10,000 students annually and has 9 locations throughout Metro East. The community college's athletic teams compete in the Midwest Athletic Conference of the NJCAA. This is the main campus, and the reason why it looks impressive for a community college is because this used to be the campus of Monticello College, which no longer exists. Monticello College was founded as a women's seminary in 1835 by no one other than Benjamin Godfrey and closed in 1971. Many of the original buildings are still standing, which you've got to say is pretty neat. You can see that the older buildings on campus were made of stone. There's articles claiming that Godfrey wanted to open a women's-only college based off of how his child interacted with his wife. That made Godfrey realize the influence that mothers have on their kids. Godfrey saw a benefit of having educated women in society, and eventually, Godfrey was able to open Monticello College. The name Monticello comes from the original name of the area that is now known as Godfrey. Obviously, the name change was made in his honor, as he was an incredibly successful businessman back in the day and had a huge impact on the economy of Alton. When Monticello College first opened, the curriculum was based off of Yale University, and the school was built to resemble Nassau Hall at Princeton University. Make sure to drop a like for that amazing insight. Godfrey is a nice little community for sure, and once again it can be thought of as a suburban extension of Alton to the south. Godfrey shares the same public school system with Alton, and much of Godfrey's history is connected to Alton. There is no downtown Godfrey. The most interesting thing in Godfrey by far and away was the campus of Lewis and Clark Community College, which was formerly a women's seminary called Monticello College. Speaking of Alton, however, not too far away is Alton High School, and if you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to watch my previously done video on Alton. I do end the video here. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy checking out some of the featured playlists on this channel. Videos with amazing insights on other places like what you saw here can be found on my Metro East playlist, my St. Louis Suburbs playlist, or in my Illinois playlist. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. We'll see you next time. Peace!